start the day than to head off to a local farm shop. Now, as some of you may know, we have been getting a veg box every Friday for the week ahead. It's been a mixed veg box, it's had lots of fruit, lots of different veggies in, but now that we're starting to produce food from the garden, we don't need as much, so we've decided that we're going to stop getting the mixed veg box for a while. We're using everything that we've got coming in from the garden, but there are certain things that we're going to need to supplement, which is what we're going to the farm shop for. We haven't been here for months because we haven't needed to, so let's go and have a little look around and see what we're going to get for the week ahead. As you can see, we've just arrived. This has had a serious upgrade since we were last here. It's about 3 times the size. Good morning, it's actually Sunday now. I'm going to show you what we got from the farm shop and go over that in just a second. Well, a bit longer than a second, but it is yet another wet morning. It hasn't stopped raining literally since yesterday. Yesterday after we went to the farm shop, I ended up getting super busy doing all the usual being a mum kind of things, and then just got really busy, and it was about, well, it was late in the evening anyway by the time we got back. So I'm going to show you, as I say, what we got from the farm shop. I need to get these poor animals fed first. Honestly, I think they're all going to need to learn how to swim, and I'm going to have to invest in another raincoat, I think, because this isn't waterproof anymore. So I'm going to start off by feeding the pigs. Those poor things, they're doing just fine. They're turning the turning the ground over just fine, but it's just not good for them, not nice to them to be out in this kind of weather where they're just permanently, the feet are always wet. That's kind of a glutton for punishment for foot problems. I've had to put the feed on the floor because I've moved the feeder, which was in the middle of all the really sloppy mud. So there's still got some ground left, not there, here. Whoop, slipping. And that's why I've had to put it on the floor, because it's so slippy and dangerous. The pigs are so big and boisterous now that if you come in with them with a feed bucket, you will end up on your backside. I mean, look at this, literally. This is where we get in, and this is we get foot stuck. We get in coming over this little fence bit here, because I think we told you on the oh, hang on. Oak trees are really low because of the weight of the water. Anyway, we told you when we put the pigs in here, we haven't put a gate in because it's just one extra thing to worry about, and for them to get out of, and for a gate to be left open. So we climb over on that spot, but it's a single point of failure. So when it's like this and it's super muddy and the pigs see you with feed, you don't stand a chance. So I've put the feed on the floor. It's clean enough for them on the floor, it's just the pellets are quite big, so they'll quite happily eat that off the floor. But I've put the feeder over by the fence, so hopefully if you don't play with the feeder during the day, I can just put the feed straight in there tonight. If there's two of you and you can distract the pigs, it's easier. But I'm doing this on my own this morning, so I'm just going to fill their water up and feed everything else. Horses are in the distance there. Poor things, they're getting webbed feet as well. Just want to point out while we're here, look, we've got hazelnuts coming, quite a few, which given the chance, this girl here will eat them all. Let's feed the goats next. Just a small handful of hay because it's going to get trampled in to the ground, into the wet otherwise. Come on, girls. See the moles being again. Right, goats done. Let's feed the chickens and the ducks. The rain isn't due to let up all day today, so I do feel super sorry for everything, but one thing that's not bothered by it is the ducks. Tell you what, let's put the feed in first and then they can run straight over to it. Otherwise, no doubt I'll probably end up tripping over them as well. Their pond needs doing today, so Stephen will probably do that while I'm going to have a day in the kitchen, I think, again. Preserving and all of those good things. I might have a look at doing something with that garlic. Oops. The apples are coming on thick and fast. That's one thing we always get in abundance here, is these wonderful apples. We'll see what we do with those this year. I've had a couple of windfalls, but I just leave them for the chickens, to be honest. Ducks have quietened off now. We've got some food. I've been wanting to do like a small Holden update, have a walk around, because a few things have changed since the last one. But my goodness me, I'm not even sure I'll be able to use this footage because of the wind. It's just, I don't know if you can see the rain as well, but it's raining still. Right, let's get these girls out. And the boy. We put their feeder under the tree just because it stops a lot of the water. There's quite a dense coverage there. Then they can go out onto the paddock and all of the green after they've had a bit of feed. It's just miserable mornings. Let's see what eggs we've got. Still warm. None in there. One, two, 4 here. 6 eggs. The weather puts them off late, not surprisingly. Let's go and see how many duck eggs we've got. Right, that's them collected. They aren't particularly clean, being ducks. We need to get fresh bedding in there as well today. The mud outside, they're just walking it straight into the bed and it's getting dirty in days rather than a week. So I'm going to go get these cleaned up and I'll meet you back in the kitchen. Sorry for yet another break, but in between speaking to you on the last video and where we are now, not only have the eggs been done, but we've had a little bit of a shopping disaster. So I've got milk all over the kitchen table, so I'm going to see to that and then we'll continue. Welcome back to the kitchen. We're time travelling. It's a different day again. I have got all of those eggs washed and out on the stall, and some people say don't wash them. The duck eggs need to be washed because with all of the rain that we've had, it's so muddy out there, and the ducks with the flat feet just walk all of the mud into where they lay the eggs. So the eggs are covered in goodness knows what, straw and all sorts. So I do wash the duck eggs. Mostly the chicken eggs are clean. The chickens are a lot cleaner. Anyway, they're all out on the stall, so hopefully we shall get some pennies to pay for their feed, because that's what we do at the moment. So anything that we're lucky enough to get off YouTube, which is diminishing rapidly with the lack of videos that I've been putting out, so apologies for that, that pays for the pig food. And anything that we're lucky enough to get from selling the eggs or any surplus things like that, that pays for the chicken food. It doesn't cover it all at the moment, but you never know. It's no, I was going to say every little bit helps, but that is a really bad link into what I wanted to talk to you about. So that's a supermarket slogan for those that don't know. The farm shop is absolutely stunning. So it's 3 times bigger than it was when it first started off. They clearly have some really good investments and they have got some amazingly beautiful stuff. The meat is fantastic. They've got so many different condiments and all sorts of different things. While I'm chatting, because I'm just going to be doing some kitchen jobs while we're chatting, otherwise neither will happen. I'll put some footage over the top and show you what the farm shop was like when we were walking around. I didn't do any talking in there because I felt a bit too stupid to do that, and Grace would have died of embarrassment. But I did get some footage while we were walking around. So it was absolutely aesthetically pleasing. You walk in and from the minute that you go inside to the minute that you leave, everything is about being aesthetically pleasing. However, why then did I come away with a feeling of disappointment? So I first went in and I picked up some milk, and they only had pasteurised milk. So we drink whole milk here, and raw milk if and when we can get it. So we've got a lovely farm that we go to for raw milk, but they don't sell raw butter there, and it's quite a distance away from where we live. It's near where I work, so when I'm at work I can pick some up, but when you've been on holiday and things like that, we're just using supermarket whole milk at the moment. So I'm really wanting to get away from that, and I was hoping that this farm shop would have raw milk in and raw butter, and it had neither. And then I also looked at the cheeses. Oh my goodness, so many amazing cheeses, and there were just lots of local produce in there. Apologies for the washing machine, I've just got to get this done, otherwise it'll never happen. You know, we've got real life going on. I'm going to weigh this out while I'm talking to you. We're just making a small loaf in the bread maker. I'm also doing sourdough, but the kids are a bit not total converts yet, because that's another thing. I'm making all the bread now instead of getting it from the supermarket, because I really want to reduce what we're going to the supermarket for, because it ramped up before the holidays and even a month or two before that for some reason. So I'm quite disappointed in that. So you're going to see a bit of a change here on the small holding. You might not see it, but I certainly will. We didn't really buy that much supermarket stuff, and we don't generally have or haven't had many ultra processed foods, but they were creeping back in. So they're the changes that we are going to be big on, and what you'll see coming in terms of just making sure that we commit again to eating what we grow, and also more about local produce. And that's the farm shop. That's exactly why I went to the farm shop. But I came away feeling quite disappointed, because the cheese, even though the cheeses looked amazing, and I did get a couple, they contained lots of E numbers. And even though the E numbers aren't necessarily the bad ones, all of them, I would like to avoid if possible, they still had them in there. Really, I would like to buy cheese without any E numbers in, or anything like that, really, any preservatives if that's possible. And I did find some that didn't have any in, so I was pleased about that. But one thing I did feel when I was walking around is all of the produce that I was seeing, that wasn't the kind of whole foods, vegetables and meat, I could make myself. So the fact that I could make them myself I was thinking, well, I don't want to buy these, because it was super expensive, premium prices, and perfect for people that don't grow their own, don't cook, can't cook, and I mean that from a, whatever reason it might be. So there was some lovely produce for people who want to buy that, and who it would be essentially still home cooked, nourishing food, but it's all stuff that I can make myself. So I was kind of walking past that and I was thinking, that looks lovely, got loads of ideas from it. The pies looked amazing. Ready meals, in terms of ready meals, but not ultra processed ready meals, all looked fantastic. So I came away with some really good ideas, but again, it's not something that I would buy from there. And then I also saw the veggies and everything, none of that was organic. And I'm not necessarily just wanting to buy organic, because I've got different views on that anyway about organic. But the veggies they looked fantastic, they were aesthetically pleasing in the boxes. I didn't get much footage of the veggies because the guy was putting them out on the morning, so apologies for that. Right, sorry about that, my washing machine got a little bit too excited, so I thought I'll wait until it calms down. I need to add the yeast and the salt into this, so a teaspoon of yeast, 1.5 of salt and 280 ml of water. So yes, the vegetables this is a half teaspoon by the way, were very aesthetically pleasing, but not organic and super expensive. So I thought, well, do I really want to be paying super expensive prices when I can just get exactly the same as this at my local greengrocer, possibly even from the same warehouse distributor, and not pay a fortune for it? And to be honest, it even got me thinking, well, do you want to even be buying that, Tracy? Do you not just want to eat what you produce on the small holding? And I know that I can't do that all of the time. One thing I did get was butter, which this is really nice butter, but it's not raw butter, and I would like to have raw butter if possible. And although I did get, I got some flour, so this is the other thing from Wessex Mill, so UK-based mill, but again, they're just distributors of that. There's lots of places that do, oh, I've put too much yeast in, never mind. There's lots of places that do that flour as distributing, including Amazon, and it's the local suppliers that sell on Amazon direct. It might not be direct, but Amazon, I think Amazon are the hosting for the shop, and then it comes either direct from the suppliers or from the Amazon store, I'm not sure. But point being, even though Amazon is a kind of a big company that's taken over, it is giving the local suppliers the option to be able to sell from them. And I'm quite happy to buy direct or from the local supplier's website, or through Amazon, if it means that I'm still getting it and helping essentially these kind of people. The next thing I'm doing is my kefir. This has just been holding on to this is just the kefir grains, milk grains and a little bit of milk just to keep them happy in the fridge, because I haven't been having kefir over this last week or so, and that's what I want the raw milk for. So at the moment we are just using, this is supermarket milk, again trying to get away from that, but I haven't been able to go over and get the raw milk lately, and I want the raw milk for my kefir because obviously you're not heating that up when you're making it or anything and losing any of those good bacteria, and then I'll just have that as a drink, as a kind of a supplement drink. Incidentally, when I'm making yogurt, so I'm going to be doing that as well, having a day of it, because you're heating yogurt up and essentially pasteurising it before you make it, I do think that I will just keep using milk, not necessarily from the supermarket, but again from our local greengrocers, because where I'm getting to with all of this is I wasn't overly impressed with the farm shop. I came out feeling disappointed, even though it's fantastic. It just didn't have what I went in for. No raw milk, no butter. The veggies weren't anything better than what I can get in my local farm, in my local grocers, for a fraction of the price. You know, lots of the foods still had preservatives and additives in it. Even though it looked fantastic, it gave me some really good ideas. It just reaffirmed that we are getting back to a non-ultra processed food diet, which again we don't have a lot in, but I want to have none, except the alcohol. That's a different conversation completely. And I just want to spend some time concentrating on that again, because we did get dragged away before our holiday, this, that and the other, and other things, and we want to get connected back to what we're growing and what we eat from our land. So that's going to be the main bulk of our meals moving forward, and starting off tonight actually. So I'll hang around to see what we're going to be eating shortly, but for now I need to get this kefir washed up, because this has been in the fridge for quite a while. It's turned into a really thicker kefir kind of yogurt. There's not enough there for me to use for myself, and to be honest, it's been feeding off there. There's probably not much left in there that I could get use out of. So I'm going to get those rinsed off and just make up another 500ml jar, which is literally a teaspoon of kefir grains, and then fill to the top with this milk, which isn't raw, as I say, but it will be as soon as I can get my hands on it. Anyway, I think I better leave that there, because I'm going to keep talking your ear off for ages and I need to get tidied up. I've made a little bit of a mess. Incidentally, the black currants, did I show you those? I can't remember. This is black currants in honey, and it's just essentially a fermented cordial that I've made. Absolutely delicious. Take equal amounts of black currants, equal amounts of honey, pour them together, leave them for up to 2 weeks, and you are left with a delicious cordial and some fruits that you can just spoon over whatever your heart desires. Rice pudding and custards and trifles and pancakes or whatever. I'm not going to list them all out. Anyway, hang around, because we're going to have some homemade food very shortly, but I need to get tidied up first.
Well, I got 3 lovely fresh wild rabbits the other night, so tonight we're just going to take the meat off the legs and the backs, and they're going to go in minced with some home reared belly pork into burgers. So get to taking the meat off the rest of them and we'll get through the mincer. So all we're going to do to make the burgers is we've got some fresh rabbit meat, which is just the back legs and the back straps. Got a bit of belly pork in there to add some fat. All we're going to use seasoning wise is salt, pepper, some onions and some fresh herbs from the garden. It's sage, rosemary and thyme. And that's it. So we're going to get it all through the mincer, get it made into burgers. So we've added the salt, just give it plenty of black pepper, or as much as you like. So black pepper, put the whole onion in, and the herbs. Now we'll just give that a good mix up by hand, and then we'll run it through the mincer again to get it all mixed up thoroughly, and then the meat won't be as coarse. So we'll give that a good mix up, and then we'll run it through the mincer again. So with 3 rabbit hindquarters and a little bit of belly pork, we've got 9 decent sized balls which we're going to make burgers out of.
Jump into the car on a Friday.